Hi, this is Anna Maria Blevins. I am the director of Reviviscence, Revival plus Renaissance, Arts and Innovation, and we work with young people and the community encouraging arts and innovation programs, and we have raised disaster relief through some wonderful cultural events with young people who are outstanding leaders. And I am really excited because, my foundation is the God of the universe who created the universe, and the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and the God of the Bible. And that is, incredibly empowering. And just knowing God and His Word, we see that all of creation belongs to Him. And on earth, everything here belongs to Him. And that includes all areas of culture. I have like 8 areas: arts and entertainment, business, the church, education, the family, government, health, and media. And, as I get older and older, I'm amazed at how putting God over all the areas of culture brings life and peace and joy. And, looking back, I see how my generation was deceived and robbed. We were told it's not polite to talk about religion and politics. And, there has been just this undercurrent of, anxiety, despair, but we were told, religion, the spiritual realm, is not something that we should be talking about. And that politics, which is policy, which affects every second of our lives, was not something to be talked about either. So we were so deceived because we did not recognize that we were being censored, and that we were told to go into the dark night silently. And our friend Doug Burgess is an amazing teacher and speaker on cultural Marxism. And, just looking back, we see, my husband, my friends, and I, that we were completely taken over within our culture. We did not have a military takeover from without, an external takeover, but we absolutely were taken over from within. And to see how so many people were intimidated and controlled to believe that, we should not talk about the most important things in life, and not acknowledge that we have a spirit and a soul, and we have an eternal destiny, and that if we cannot acknowledge that, then that can result in people losing their lives out of despair and just complete lack of knowledge, which the Bible says, my people are destroyed by lack of knowledge. And it could also destroy people's eternal destiny and cause them to miss heaven, which God paid for. So, now in 2025, after the pandemic, and that's a really good movie, after the shutdowns, after the social collapse, and all the young people who took their lives from the horrible confusion and despair. We have seen that we can no longer be controlled. We must acknowledge, we must speak about, we must talk about spirituality, religion, and public policy, politics. Dietrich Bonhoeffer, the heroic pastor who resisted the Nazis, said that the Christian church, is the conscience of the state. And how the church failed for 50 years to speak up against the over 90 million Americans who lost their right to life because of the billionaire baby butchers who sought to take their lives for complete profit and exploited their mothers and fathers in crisis, and as well as those who were perfectly willing to kill their babies. But the church had such little influence. If your pastor was not crying out and educating people on abortion and how the exceptions are the camel's nose to keep abortion legal, and even how politicians want to keep abortion legal because they want to campaign on that. If your pastor wasn't talking about that, then it does not look good, because Jesus warned there were shepherds who were just in it for the money. And if the sheep were in danger, they would abandon them. And how many little sheep were in danger of murder by abortion? And we are, going to be held responsible for that. And pastors need to wake up and realize that we do not have to be silent on public policy and politics, because we are the conscience. And the bottom line is Jesus is Lord over all areas. There's no area that he is not Lord over. There's no area that Christians need to stay out of. And we have government, we have self-government by the people. So if the Christians are not being involved in government, then the Christians have really, been deceived, and they are willing to worship man and be ruled by men who are willing to do horrible things, rather than to stand up and to learn how to be involved in their precinct, and how to be a voice, and how to use the foundation of the Bible for public policy. We must hold the government accountable. We must raise up leaders to run for office, because right now we have leaders who very likely are being selected by the machines and not elected. And that's why, like in South Carolina, the so-called supermajority of Republicans, supposedly Christian conservatives, cannot pass a ban on men in the women's bathroom. They took years to pass the heartbeat bill. So yeah, we have people who, we need Christians to go in here and to speak and advocate for those who cannot, and speak for our families, like Nehemiah said, fight for your wives, your children,